Hi there! In today's video I'm going to create a WordPress plugin with my GPT-AutoPilot project. So if you don't know, GPT-AutoPilot is this AI agent that I have created that uses the GPT-4 or GPT 3.5 API to create full coding projects with a single prompt. Now you can also iterate over the prompt, so when it creates the first version, then you can create another version by giving it another prompt. And in a recent update, I made it so that I can run the GPT-AutoPilot script from anywhere on my computer. So I have actually cloned the GitHub repository to my documents, but then I have linked that to my user bin. So if I do ls-alh and user bin and grep GPT-AutoPilot, then you can see that I am linking this file, which is in my documents, to the GPT-AutoPilot file in my user bin. And that means I can run this Python script from anywhere in my computer. And that means I can ask it to create WordPress plugins. So currently in VS Code I have open a WordPress installation. And here I can run GPT-AutoPilot and I can give it the dir flag and I can say dot so that it will work in the current project directory. And then what I can say is, yes, I want to continue. Now, be careful if you use this because it has access to all the files in the directory and it can remove them or rewrite them. So have a backup if you use this. So I'll say yes to continue. And then it will ask me, what would you like to do? Now, I would like to create in this video some sort of plugin for WordPress. And here's my idea. I want to have a section in the admin panel where I can input employee details, so like name, phone number, and some description or something. And let's say an image of them. And I should be able to add them from the admin panel. And then I should have a shortcode that I can use that will render that information on any page I want. So let's try and do that. So I will say, you are in a WordPress installation project folder. Your job, now this is very annoying, I have to fix this. For some reason in Python when you use the input, you can't go back and I can't fix this. I've made a mistake, but hopefully it understands, job, is to create a WordPress plugin. The plugin should be such that it adds a new section to the admin panel of WordPress where you can add employee information to a list which will be saved to the database. You can input a name, email, phone number, and an image. Let's do that. Then you have to create a shortcode, employees, that will render the employee list nicely with all the information on the page that the shortcode is added on. I think that is enough information, so let's try and do this. And we will not detect a system message, we will use the default. And I will not make my prompt better because it's good already, I wrote it myself. So let's see what questions we will get. So, do you want the plugin to have a custom settings page or should the employee information be added directly in the employees section of the admin panel? It should have a custom settings page. Do you have a specific name in mind for the plugin? Employees. That is the name of the plugin. Employees. Do you want the plugin to be activated immediately upon installation? What does that mean? Activated immediately upon installation. I will skip these questions. I don't actually know what it tries to do with this. Do you want to provide any default settings for the plugin? No. Where should you like the custom settings page to appear in the WordPress admin panel? There should be a link to it in the left sidebar. What should be the name of the link in the left sidebar? Employees. Now, this by default asks 5 questions. Maybe I should have used a command line argument to make it ask like 10 or 15 questions. But let's see what it will do. So it will create a task list. The first task is to create an employees folder inside WP Content plugins. And the number 2 is create employees.php file inside the plugin folder. Implement the custom settings page functionality. Create a shortcode that renders the employee list. Add CSS to style the employee list. That sounds like a very good plan. So let's say, yes, I want to use this. And I will do this step by step, because otherwise I think it will forget to do some of these steps. So we can either just send the whole thing at once to ChatGPT to tell it, do all this, or we can go one by one. Create this folder, and then create this file, and then do this. So I'll do that, because in this case, I think that will be better. So number 2, and let's see it work and see if it actually does something useful. Now remember, I'm using the GPT 3.5 API. I might switch to the GPT 4 if this doesn't work. But let's see what happens. Now, something weird is happening here, because it is only sending requests and it is not writing to any files. I'm not quite sure what is happening here. This is some sort of bug. I might go and check here in the message history what it is actually sending. So, by the way, this is 0.3.0 version, so not everything works perfectly. So where is my history folder? Here. And let's go to the last one. What is it repeating here? Task finished, create directory. I'm not quite sure. It is not saved into the history, but it is done now. So for 19 cents, we have created something. And let's go take a look at our WordPress installation here. So I already created this joke plugin in the previous video with this. So it will add a shortcode that adds a random joke to the page. So here we have, why don't skeletons ever fight each other? They don't have the guts. And if I refresh this, then it changes it to, why did the scarecrow win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field. But now if we refresh this plugins page, we should have a new plugin here. And we have here Employees version 1, a plugin to manage employee information. And let us activate Employees. And what happened? We got employees with an actual icon in the sidebar. So let's go here, and what do we have here? Okay, we have just settings and save settings. Okay, so not exactly what I wanted. So let's iterate over this, but that is a good start. So I want to ask something else. Please add to the employees settings page the functionality to add new employees and their information. So we are reading the file and we are writing to it. Let's see what we are writing to it. Okay, task is finished. Let's see what happens. So actually it is live now. So if I refresh this page, we have add new employee, name, email, phone, image, URL. Okay, employee list, no employee found. So let's see if we add Mick the employee and Mick at localhost and phone number and image URL and add employee. Nothing happened. Now let's actually take a look at the code. What did it actually write? So if you go to plugins and employees and employees.php, and here we are adding the link to the settings. Okay, that's fine. Render the custom settings page. Okay, we are inserting. Okay, when we are actually implementing this employee submit, we will insert in the WPDB employees. Okay, so it is trying to add it to some employees table, but of course this doesn't exist. So what I will say is use the WordPress settings table. What is it called? Settings, options table to store the employee information instead, because you can just put it in the existing one. Now I could ask it to create the employee table, but I just want to put it in the options. So let's do that. And I should say yes first and then do that. And we are writing something, and we should actually see it live when it changes here after it's finished. And we wrote something, but I cannot see anything happening. Do I need to open this again? It should automatically. Okay, it didn't refresh automatically. So now we are actually inserting to options, and we are adding it to the option name employees, employee, and time, and we are serializing it. Okay, so let's see if this works now. So if I go back here, and if I put the information again, and I add an employee, then it was actually added here. Email was not added for some reason. What is the problem? Employee email. Because we call sanitize email. That probably doesn't allow localhost. So if I do mick@example.com and I add it, then now it is actually added. Okay. Now I can't remove them. So that's something we should do. But let's see actually, do we have the shortcode? We should have add shortcode employees. So we are actually rendering the employee list. Now it's just a list. I would like it to be a bit prettier, but let's see what it looks like. So if we now go to our sample page and we edit this page and we say here employees and we add here employees and we update and we go back here, employees, then here we have all our employees. So it kind of works. Now it would be kind of nice to have an actual image upload. So let's see if it can do that. Please add an image upload instead of an image URL. All right, we have done it. Let's see what 8 cents worth of image uploads looks like. So if we refresh this page, we have a choose file button here. So let's add mic again and let's choose a file. Now I don't have any files, so I will do face image, and here is mic the employee. I will download this image and I will call it mic. And I will go back here and I will choose mic from here. And I will add an employee. And look at this, we have mic here. And if we refresh this one, then we have mic here as well. So that's pretty cool. So I want to be able to delete employees. So I am afraid that it will remove some old functionality if I ask more. So I will actually init git in here so I can go back, which is actually something I want to implement in this program so that you can like do -- git and then it would git commit automatically after it does a change. So then you could go back. But I will go to WP content plugins and I will go to employees and I will do git init and I'll do git add dot and git commit initial commit. So now I have saved everything in case something goes bad. So let's see what we can do. So add a functionality to delete employees. Now this is a problem with using ChatGPT often, that if you want to add something or modify something in some code, it often removes some other part. But PHP is pretty nice in that you can separate functionality easily to different files. And like routing in PHP is simple because you just create a new file. Because when I've been testing this out with like Node.js or Python applications where you have to like actually create a routes file, or you have to like define your routes in one file, then if you add another route, it removes the old routes. But let's see if it actually preserved everything now. So if I now refresh this, I have a delete button. So if I click here, it will delete it. And if I click here, it will delete that. So now we have just mic here. Okay, now let's take a look at this. We have it here. It's just in a list. So how could we do this? I want to have the image at the top and then the name and the email and the phone. So let's do that. Modify the shortcode so that the rendered list has the image at the top, then just the name without the name prefix, and then the email and the phone number. Add an extra new line between name and the other information. So let's do this and see what happens. Now what we could do is we could like tell it to create a different file for the shortcode, and then it could just require that file here. So then we could just edit one file without risking removing something else, because now it has to write the whole thing every time. And of course it costs more money and it takes more time because it has to write the whole thing out. So let's go back here and refresh, and we have done exactly what I wanted. Now we still have this dot over here because it's a list. And let's add another. Let's add a face here. Let's save this, and this is going to be Jane. And let's add Jane, the employee, jane@example.com. And this is Jane's phone number, and we will add Jane's image. Add employee. Okay, we have Mick and Jane. Aha! Jane the employee didn't work. So it broke some old code. But if you go here, we have now Jane the employee. So we have to fix this. Let's actually do that, what I talked about. So separate different parts of the code into separate files. Short code. What else do we have? Settings page, and saving of the employees and listing the employees. Saving the employees and listing the employees. Then just require those files in the main plugin file. This way you don't have to write the whole code every time. So let's do this and see if it actually still works. So we create actually an includes folder with the shortcode.php and settingspage.php and saving employees.php and listing employees.php. And then we are updating the employees.php file. And it is done. So if we somehow refresh this, I'm not sure why it is not refreshing, then we are requiring all the stuff here, but we still have, okay, so we left something because I didn't tell it to move the uploads into another, okay. Now let's see if the upload now works. Maybe it magically started to work now. Oh, we have a critical error. Okay, so let's see what is the error. Aha, cannot redeclare. So let us copy this error and paste it to GPT-AutoPilot, and hopefully it will fix it. And if we refresh, it still doesn't work. We cannot redeclare this one. Okay, so maybe it didn't remove the functions from the original file or something. But let's just run through these errors and hopefully it can fix all of them. Alright, let's see if it now works. Okay, now it's working again. So it can fix its issues. So I'll delete Jane from here again, and I will add Jane again, and let's see if the image selection works now. So, or the image upload. Add employee. It does not work. Now let me verify that it is not about the image actually. So if I take Mick and I add, okay, it still doesn't work. So the image upload doesn't work anymore. And we are writing something to settingspage.php. Perhaps the upload works, but the settings page is loading it from the wrong place because it is writing to settingspage.php and not employees, which handles the upload. Okay, we are actually writing here too and deleting file. Okay, now we are doing something bad. We are deleting files, and we have reached the context limit of GPT 3.5, but this will automatically redact old messages at this point. So hopefully it didn't break everything now. So let's refresh, and it did break everything. So failed opening required settingspage.php. Okay, so it deleted this. I don't know why. So let's check this out, and I'll just paste in this error and hopefully it will write it. Now we did run out of this context window, so I might have to change to GPT-4 or just restart this, clearing the message history, and then just say we are working on this project and please fix it. So let's refresh, and it doesn't work, and we still get an error. Now I should have done a git commit before doing this, but I forgot. So what did it actually do here? Okay, it thinks that it is a mistake in including the files, but it's actually because it deleted the file. Actually, it deleted a lot of things. So we are including a bunch of stuff here, but it deleted all of them. So, damn it. Let's see if it can recreate them. You deleted all of the files in the includes folder. Please bring them back. Okay, what I will do now, because we are getting lots of errors, is that I am going to stop this and I will go here and I will check git status and I will do git restore employees.php and I will do rmrf include. And if I go back here now, then I have this version that works somehow. I forgot what was the problem with this. So if I take Jane from here, Jane, add employee. Okay, so now it works. But here we have the different format. Okay, so let's do that. I will start this again and I will say, yes, I want to use all these files. And I will say, I am developing a plugin called Employees. It is in the WordPress WP content /plugins/employees folder. Please read through the plugin code and familiarize yourself with it. I want you to make modifications to it. There is a shortcode that displays the employees on the website. Modify it so that the image of the employee will be at the top and the name, email and phone after that. So let's do this and we will probably get now questions. So it will ask, what do you want me to modify? Do you want me to modify the existing shortcode or create a new one? Modify the existing one. Can you provide the path where the shortcode is defined? WP content /plugins/employees/employees.php. Are there any specific functions or hooks associated with the shortcode in the employee? Read it and find out. Could you please provide some clarifications about the functions or hooks associated with the shortcode in the employees? Figure it out yourself. I don't want to tell you. Is there a specific function or hook? Yes, it's in the file. Okay, we're creating a task list. Read the employees.php file. Find the function or hook that registers. Modify the shortcode. Okay. Yes, I want to do exactly that, and I will do it step by step. So we are reading the file. Okay. Then we read the file again for some reason, and then we are writing something to it. Okay, we have done it for 15 cents. Let's see if this still works. Okay, it's at the top, and now it works. And we have the images here, and everything works. And how about this? It changed it here as well. Okay. So now I will actually do git commit. So I will git add employees and git commit changed image position. And let's go back here. Now what I want to do is let's try to do that separation of the functionality. So please separate all the functionality in the employees.php to separate files so that you don't need to modify all the code when you want to change one part. All right, we have done something. So I think it created again the same folders. Now I don't know why VS Code is not refreshing this folder, but it did create something. So let's go here and refresh, and we have a critical error again. So let's see what the error is. Syntax error, unexpected token. Okay, let's paste this into GPT-AutoPilot. All right, and we have done something. Let's refresh, and no errors, but no settings either. How about shortcode? We still see this stuff here. So what happened? How can I refresh this page? I can't see anything on the settings page of the plugin now. Okay, we got some answer. I apologize for the inconvenience. Could you please provide me with the location of the error logs on your server? There are no errors. No, there are no errors. I think you forgot to echo the settings out or something. Alright, let's take a look. And we still get nothing. Now let's take a look at the code. If I in fact can refresh this, how do I refresh in VS Code? Why? Oh, here's refresh. Okay, settings page, employee settings page, yeah, it's all still there. How about here? Settings page. We're not calling the function. So we have settings page, but we have to call this when we are on the page. So employees settings page. Add a hook that when I'm on this page, the employees settings page is called. Yeah, because we don't have the actual hook there, so that's the problem. How about the shortcode? It is adding the shortcode. It is adding the shortcode, but not the settings page. So it did something, and let's refresh. It doesn't work. So call employee setting page when on. What is it doing? It's checking if the page is that, then it will call employee settings page. Okay, I want to finish this video, so I will go back to the old version. So I will say no to this, and I will go back here, and I will check git status, and I will say git restore employees.php and rmrf includes. And let's do this again. I will copy my prompt from here. So I am developing a plugin, and we already modified it so that the employee image is at the top. So what I now want to do, yes, and this, modify it so that what? So if I refresh, it still works now. But I want to remove the dot from here and make it look pretty. I want the employees to be side by side. The employees are displayed side by side on the page when the shortcode is called. Remove the bullet from the list. No, and then let's see what questions. Could you please provide the file path for the main plugin file? WP content plugins employees/employees.php. No dependencies. Is there a shortcode already? Yes, there's a shortcode already. Shortcode is employees. Could you please specify how the employees are currently displayed? In a list element that has the image, name, email, and phone number of the employee. Read the employees.php, modify the employee shortcode, remove the bullet from the list. Yes, and step by step, and let's do this. All right, we have done it. Let's see if it now works. Okay, we removed the bullet, but they are not side by side. So I wonder what it did actually, because we don't have a CSS, right? We have a style.css, but they are not side by side. Okay. Now I wonder if it actually sees this CSS, because I have a limit on the amount of files that it will list from the project. So I should have actually given the employees folder as, or the plugins folder as the working directory, because now it's the whole WordPress installation, so maybe it doesn't see the style.css. So the employees are still below each other. I want them to be nicely in line next to each other with some borders and border radius and margin. Alright, it is done. Let's see if we can end this video now. We cannot, because it still looks the same. It edited the wrong place. So these are side by side, but these are not side by side. You edited only the settings page employee list. I want you to edit the shortcode employee display. Alright, hopefully now it works. It does not work. Why does it not work? Employee item, we actually have like a class here, but why don't we get the CSS? CSS, employees, employee list. I need to refresh this again. There's no CSS. It's here. Employee settings page. Okay. So it's not putting the CSS on the front page. So let's do this. Add the styling CSS to employees/css/style.css and make sure it is enqueued to the front end. Okay, this is the last time. Now it works. It has to work. It doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? What is here? Okay, I can see the script up there flashing. You forgot to add starting PHP tag. And then it's appending. No, you can't append a starting PHP tag. What are you doing? Please rewrite the whole file. This is the problem with the appending. It always tries to append stuff, but you can't append to the top of a file. Like if you write a C program, for example, it writes a main function, and then you say add something to it. Then it appends, but then it goes under the main function, so it doesn't do anything. I don't know why it's so stupid. Well, it's GPT 3.5, it's not GPT 4. I might add like a disable function command line flag so that you can disable the appending or replacing text. That's another function that doesn't really work. But I think I denied replace text function from GPT 3.5. It only worked with GPT 4 because GPT 3.5 is not responsible enough for using replace text. Okay, we are now stuck in a partial output and partial write response loop here. So I will stop this, and to end this video, I will try to make one big prompt to create this employees plugin, and I will give it to GPT-4. So let's see if it will work then. So give me a minute, I will write this out. Okay, I have created a monster of a prompt that says, well, I'm not going to read this out loud. You can stop the video and read it if you want to read it. And maybe I will post it on my GitHub page or something. Anyway, I will now use this prompt and I will save this. And I will call it prompt.txt and I will put it in the plugins folder for now, whatever. Or I'll put it in documents. Save. And then what I can do is I can go here and I will destroy my employees plugin from here. And I will do this. GPT-AutoPilot, dear dot, and I will say not better, to not make a better version with GPT. And I will say system default, to use the default system message and not ask for anything. And I will say no questions because all of the data is in the prompt. And I will say use task list to use whatever task list it creates automatically. And I will say step by step so that it does the task list step by step. I will use model 4 to use GPT-4. And do I need something else? Perhaps that is it. So I will do this. And I should have said, well, actually I cannot. I have to say, yes, I don't have a flag for this. I only have a flag for deleting the files. So I will say yes. And sorry, I have to add prompt file will be documents/prompt.txt. So I will do that and I will say yes. And then it should do it automatically. And we should have a fully working plugin if GPT-4 is as good as advertised. All right, we got an 8-step plan to create this plugin. So we create the directory, we create the PHP file, we create an admin menu.php, an employee form.php, employeeslist.php, shortcodes.php, style.css, and we update employees.php to include admin menu employees, employees list, shortcodes, and styles. Okay, well that is not actually the whole project, but well yeah, it is, because it will create the different parts in all the different files. So let's see what it does. Alright, GPT-4 has finished the project and it has cost $1.91. Let's see what it did. Now, technically it should be activated already, the plugin. So if I go here, I actually see something already here. So it didn't quite work as expected. So it is activated, but we have employees here. If we click here, okay. So for some reason it is creating the form up here all the time, but we have name, email, phone, image, delete. Yeah. So let us do a git init, and let's do git add dot and git commit initial GPT-4 commit. I don't know what happened because there was maybe something in there already, but I deleted the file. Not sure what happened there, but this is the initial commit. So why is it printing it there? Let's take a look. Employee yes. So these are just functions. Employee custom menu, that's fine. And this is the handling of the form, and this is the form. Okay, so this is the problem. It is echoing out the form here. And then it's probably including this somewhere. Employee form, okay. So I will tell it to fix that problem. You are echoing out the employee form all the time, even when not on the settings page. Now I did realize that I forgot to mention in my prompt to save the data in the options table. And I just noticed that GPT-4 wrote here, no script kiddies, please. But now let's see if it can fix the problem here. It cannot fix the problem. So I will fix its problem to see if this actually will work. So employee form. Am I including it in many places? Admin menu, employee form. So I will separate this into submit. Here we only want the submit, and I will copy this, paste it here, and I will call it employee form submit. And I will only have that in there, and I will remove the handling from here, and that should work. Okay, so now we have everything here, and I'm not sure why these are here and here, but let's try. Mick the employee and mick at example.com and phone number, and let's take mick from here and let's submit. Critical error. What is the error? Call to undefined function get current user. In employee form submit, check file type. So this means that that file is required in the wrong place. It should be like somewhere add action init function, and we should add this in there. So now I'm fixing GPT's code. So something like this. Not sure if it's init. I think it's init. Let's refresh. And we did something, but it didn't actually work. Probably we are again saving it to some wrong place. So what does the submit actually do? Insert table name. What is table name? Employees. Okay. So I really want to make this work. So I will do one more thing. Please save the employee information into the options table instead. Please note that I changed the code already. So read it before modifying it. Let's see. Okay, we have done something again. And let's see what is in employee form. Again, VS Code is weird. It did not do anything. let's see if I try this again. Okay, it actually worked, so it did something. And we have the image here, but it doesn't work. And if we refresh, we still have everything here. And if we delete, there's a critical error. So let's check the front page, and it does not work. It does it this way. So GPT-4 created a better UI, kind of, but it still made a lot of mistakes. So today's video is going to end here. I am giving up on this. I almost got it to work, but there were some problems. I might try this again with the GPT 3.5 and ask it to separate those files or do something different. But let me know in the comments what do you think of this video and this tool, and if you want to use it, you can go to GPT-AutoPilot on GitHub and you can clone it and you can give it a star and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this in the future. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.